Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium, and this is me saging the energy around what I'm about to talk about, which is Kevin McCarthy and his sliminess. I mean, the energy around this man baby, maybe, is yucky. Like, I just need to get it off of around me, right? So anyway, let's get down to business, shall we? We're going to be talking very briefly this morning about what does it mean that Kevin McCarthy won the speakership of the House? What does it mean for us? Like, the media is talking about, oh, Social Security is history. They're going to go after Medicare and Medicaid, and they're gonna ruin democracy. They're going to dismantle democracy. They're going to dismantle our society as we know it, is what some of these media hype people would have you believe. But I'm here to tell you it doesn't mean that at all. Now, it does mean that McCarthy is owned. Matt Gaetz finally, when they asked him, why did you finally vote present to allow him to be speaker? He said, because I ran out of things to ask for. That's what he said. I ran out of things to ask for. So what does this mean, you guys? It means that they were toying with him the way a cat toys with its prey before it dies, from fright or whatever, right? I mean, they never really dispatch it cleanly and quickly. They like to toy with it for a while, see if it can still move. You know what I mean? I was a cat servant for 17 and 18 years, respectively. I'm not a cat person, but I have been their servant for a number of years, and I know how they are. So I feel very confident that I can speak to this. Also, I don't know why I picked this shirt today. Hello, freaking leopards on it and tigers and oh my, right? Like, I didn't realize this till I put it on. And then I put on this necklace, which I don't normally wear. This is actually tiger's eye, which is very protective. And lately I've been wearing my amethyst ring, which is like, calm the F down, Susan, right? So, and I'm burning sage. So, look, right. It's going to be bumpy. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly. I'm not going to lie to you, but it's not going to work. It's not going to work. They're not going to win this battle. Now, what do they want? The guides have already told you when we talked to you about this in the video before last, that basically the image they keep showing me over and over again is you're riding your bike, you're enjoying yourself, the weather's beautiful, the scenery's beautiful, and somebody sticks a stick right in those spokes, and your bike stops and you flip over the handlebars. That's what they want to do with democracy. Now, we cannot overlook the fact that these malcontents, they want to call them, these malcontents, these traitors that have been holding up the speaker vote all of this time, 15 times, finally acquiesced by voting present, which is not technically voting for something. It's a lily-livered way of voting for something without voting for it. On Jan 6, around the time that the votes for Biden were certified. They waited till Jan 6. They purposely scheduled this vote to start at what, 8 or 9 p.m.? Why would they do that, folks? Why would anybody? Because they had negotiations? There was no negotiations. This was all what my spirit guides said to me this morning. Actually, I take it back. They said yesterday, kabuki theater. Now, actually, kabuki theater is a real thing, but kabuki theater is used, it's parlance for shenanigans in politics. It's actually used in the world of politics to mean all show, no substance. That's what this was, you guys. This was all a big kabuki theater exercise in which around the time on Jan 6 that we certified the votes and got our democracy back, they did it again 2 years later. They wanted to prove a point. You don't own this country. We do. But listen, I mean, maybe we shouldn't tell them. You know what I mean? Because why ruin a good thing? But they don't freaking run this country. They don't even run Congress. Congress is deadlocked. They're never going to get anything through the Senate because we have the majority and we have a Democratic president that can veto things. So they don't own nothing. They don't own nothing. They own a washed up, tired old dude who can't leave his Florida compound because I don't think he has the money to do it. They got nothing, you guys. Do not be scared about these people. This is kabuki theater. They have to use this because it's all they've got. They took all the power they could possibly amass and put it towards, threatening and playing with McCarthy, batting him around like a cat would a little mouse. McCarthy has no leadership. He has no power. He gave it all away to a handful of insurgents, of traitors. He gave it all away to a handful of traitors and insurgents. Now, don't you think these other Republicans who maybe are in swing states are going to be held hostage as well? Did you see the pictures of the fist fight that almost happened? Did you see the picture of the guy had restraining another man like this on the floor? Yes, because that man was trying to get at Matt Gaetz. It's a mess. It's not good. It's honestly not good. I would say to you that the part of me that is Susan is not happy about this. She doesn't think it's funny. She's actually kind of worried about it. Now, I'm not worried about Social Security. I'm worried about the fact that a handful of people are trying to control our government once again. And if the only way they can control it is by stopping it, by tripping it while it's running, by, any means necessary, just stop the government, stop the work of the government. Well, they're going to do that. They're going to do that quite well. But there's two things I need to tell you. First of all, the spirit guides are reminding me that judges are getting appointed like clockwork in the Senate. Last year, the Senate already appointed over 70 new judges, and the majority of them were women. This year, we're going to be appointing judges like crazy because the Senate appoints judges and we have a majority there. So, and whatever the cockamamie Republicans come up with in the House is going to die and never even going to get to the Senate. So yes, the House is dysfunctional. Look, we've been there before. McConnell had it being dysfunctional. We survived that. And I really, truly think I think this because there's a lot of energy around it. When, of all the whatever thousands of words I've heard reported or said or whatever about all the bills that got passed or didn't get passed last year, the biggest spending bill, the bill that McConnell got behind, the bill that says the government is funded until August, those words, when that happened, those words kind of echoed in my head. It had energy around it, meaning that was important. Now, this was before we knew all this shenanigans was going to go on with the House. Now I understand it a lot better. McConnell knew, everybody knew. Crap was going down. The House was going to be inoperable, out of commission, and getting a debt ceiling raised or being able to pay our bills was not going to happen because that's exactly what they want. They want to stop the functioning of our country. So they paid it. They made it paid until August of this year. Now, again, you're going to hear the news. Oh my gosh, they're never going to pass debt ceiling. We have until August. Again, the news is nothing but doom and gloom. It gets eyeballs. It gets everybody. Honestly, the guides are saying, and this is probably so true. I mean, I'm questioning them. But anyway, you know, when we're stressed out, what do? We eat. We go out to eat. I mean, this all sort of puts together. It all fits together, right? So and we watch more news, right? When we're stressed out about the news, we can't wait to know what happened next. But I'm here to tell you there's a reason why they left it till August. These people know. McConnell, McConnell knows. The leadership of the House knows what's going on. And between now, which is January 7th, and August of 23, a whole lot is going to happen. And I want to direct your attention, ladies and gentlemen, to something that the guides said in that video where I was talking about the House. And they said, if McCarthy wins, he's going to be a whipping boy. It will be because he's a whipping boy. And that's what happened. But here's the thing. They also said there's going to be a flipping of the table. Do you remember that? They said the table is going to be flipped. I just see fingers under the edge of a table and this table flipping. I didn't understand why they said that. It didn't make sense to me. I'm just channeling. I'm just telling you what they're telling me. And some of you in the comments, which we have the best commenters on YouTube land, period, bar none. Some of the commenters were like, it kind of reminds them of Jesus when he flipped the tables, on the money people. I mean, I'm not religious, obviously. And that is the energy of it. The energy is of this higher power, this elevated energy or spirituality or knowing, flipping the tables on these people that are bad, that are not of the light, that aren't true. So those tables are going to be flipped on these people. We have until August, okay? We have until August. A lot is going to happen between now and August to get that debt ceiling raised again. And I believe that so many power sources are coming together to really put the pressure on these malcontent insurgents. One of those power centers is Jack Smith. I don't think, forget Jack Smith for a second. They redirected my attention to Florida, to Greenberg, whatever that guy's name is. Matt Gaetz is on the hook, you guys. He's on the hook. It's only a matter of time before they throw the book at him, in my opinion. Now, I was led to look this up yesterday. How do House members get exposed? Or how do they get removed? How do they get removed? Well, it takes 2/3 of the House, which isn't going to happen, right? And I looked up when did it ever happen, right? Look up the history. When have House members ever been removed by their own body, by the House itself? Well, during the Civil War, 3 of them got removed because they were playing for the wrong side of our country. But also the other 2 times or 3 times were because these House members actually were convicted, not charged, convicted, which means, you guys, it takes a long time to go through our court system. Here we are still waiting for Trump to get convicted. You got to get enough evidence. You got to make the charges. You got to get them before a judge and a jury. And then you got to have the court. It takes, especially because our courts are so backed up, it takes a long time to even get on the docket. So I don't know how the spirit guides, I don't know how they're going to get rid of these people. I don't know how the table is going to get flipped, but I know it's going to get flipped. And I know this because when they give me information, the energy feels different depending on the probability of the energy. So, right, when I was reading about the speaker, I said there's this Byron Donalds, there's McCarthy, and there's Jim Jordan. These are the 3 people that could potentially get the speaker. And actually also said that the Speaker of the House, the minority leader of the House, could also get it, right? Jeffries, like this much, right? So that energy was not settled. I couldn't tell you what was going to happen. There was a lot in play between these people. And indeed, all of those people's names came up as potential speakers of the House. So in this case, however, with the table flipping, And with these people going down and going out of Congress, the energy is significantly stronger, significantly stronger. So at that point, it's a matter of timing. I know it's going to happen. It's like I knew that Biden was going to win, right? I knew that the two senators from Georgia were going to win. Timing is the problem with this stuff because they don't have timing like we do. But mark my words, somehow these people, several of these people, I'm thinking, well, yeah, right. It could also be that they're removed for participating in sedition, in seditious actions, right? So there's lots of opportunities here. They're not strong opportunities, but they are opportunities. And I wouldn't discount the energy right now. The energy is very much one of leveling the playing field, or one of balancing the justice. Do you recall the spirit guide said it's as if justice or spirit puts their size 14 shoe on the scale to even it out a little bit more. What is happening is the energy needs to be evened out a little bit more. Spirit doesn't get involved. Spirit doesn't pick winners and losers. But when the energy of the earth gets too out of balance, it causes the earth energy to get out of balance. And they're not going to let the earth energy get out of balance to a degree that it affects other civilizations, other life forms, other planets, other realms, whatever you want to call it. This is why there's so much documentation around UFOs or UAEs or whatever you want to call them, around nuclear war, nuclear plants, threats. All of a sudden, pilots, soldiers start reporting seeing them. They're not going to let us blow ourselves up. They're not. They're not going to let us get so out of balance that that the earth actually wobbles. They don't care if we kill each other. I mean, that to a degree, we have free will, right? We can do what we need to do or want to do because we have free will to a point. When we start getting so out of balance that it affects the world's energy, the earth's energy, then they're going to have to get involved. And this is what you're seeing. This is what you're seeing, you guys. So there's a reckoning. I'm hearing the word reckoning. There's a reckoning happening. Now, maybe what happens is the energy supports more people waking up and saying, I don't want this. I had a viewer comment that she's a Republican and she voted for Trump. And then she saw the shit show that went down and she was like, wait a minute, what is going on here? And she started really paying attention and she realized, I don't like these people. These people are horrible. They're terrible politicians. They're terrible at managing our society, our rules, our laws, whatever. So she's a viewer, right? People are going to start waking up and saying, I don't like this ugliness. I don't like all of the infighting that's happening. Look at the Democrats. There's no ugliness. There's no fistfights happening on the floor. They're there showing up every day, ready to get work done, ready to work for this country. That's going to start catching people's attention. All of this is going to tip those tables. So I don't think we're going to get to August in the same shape with the same people that we have now. Again, they talk about dissolution. Remember, dissolving. And honestly, it's disconcerting to dissolve, to dismantle something. Now, it's interesting the guides are saying right now that, Trump came in to drain the swamp. And what he did was he made the swamp visible so we could see the creatures and nastiness that was in there. And it's making us want to drain the swamp. So he did what he was supposed to do. And in some ways, maybe this is crazy. I mean, I don't always agree with what they have to say. I'm just saying. But anyway, if you really want to stretch your brain a whole lot, and do not complain to me because it's them, 1-800-Spirit Guides, press 1 for complaints. Maybe these malcontent, insurgent traitors, words, are there to dissolve the way we operate within our House of Representatives. Because honestly, we need more rules. Every time something crazy happens, I look it up and there's no rule for that. Literally, there's no rule that even says that the Supreme Court needs to follow ethical measures and recuse themselves if they're going to rule on something that perhaps they have a stake in or their wife has a stake in. There's no rule for that. The Constitution was written back when, I guess, honor of your word was really a thing, because it doesn't exist now. There is no honor. We need the rules. We need the guide rails. We need those to keep everybody in line. So maybe the dissolution, the falling apart, the destruction of the House of Representatives is good, because from those ashes, the phoenix can rise, and we can, and cooler, smarter heads on both sides will prevail and say, we really want to create some new rules around the speaker, around how many votes you can have. I mean, after that time, after the Civil War, when there was votes for 2 months, they did change it, but we need to change it again. Clearly, we have to put some guardrails, some guide stops, something on the progress, the process. Because if not, people that do not have democracy, or the future, the safety of democracy in their minds and hearts, will use those things against us. So I think we're going to get through this. They're not going to seriously threaten Medicare or Social Security. They're not. Sometimes I wish they would, because the Republican Party would be annihilated. It cannot happen. It would be great for the Democrats, right? It would talk about change. It would happen overnight. It wouldn't take 10 years. It wouldn't take 3 decades. It would be overnight. Boom. Things would change overnight. All of a sudden, the things that Americans want, the priorities, would be very clear to them. Because Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare goes across all those lines. And you see this, you might think, like they're showing me, you might think that someone would say, well, if it goes across all those lines, why would they threaten it? I mean, where do they get off anyway? What kind of, problem do they have even thinking about threatening something that is wildly popular and is supported across the entire, most socioeconomic lines throughout America? Well, because these people are oligarchs. They think and they want to have a ruling class, and everybody else gets whatever crumbs we give you, because that way you'll work for a pittance in our factories and in our mines. This is the ruling class mentality. This is why they don't understand what the Americans want. And they've been hoodwinked into thinking that they have the power, but they don't. The power's here in all of us, and they're about to find out. So don't worry so much about you're about to hear it 24/7 on the news, how terrible it is. And listen, McCarthy gave away all of his power. So yes, you're going to see Matt Gaetz probably next week or within the next 2 weeks go, I want to call a vote to oust McCarthy, because that's one of the rules they gave away. Now, any one member can call up and oust McCarthy. It's going to be a circus. Kabuki theater. Get used to it. Forewarned is forearmed. Forewarned is forearmed. Now, where I would say I personally am not going to feel like eating popcorn and watching this, because to me it is real and it does affect our lives. It affects us making laws, and it affects Biden moving forward. It affects everything, right? I mean, Congress makes laws. But I really feel like we need to see this. I really feel like this is happening for a reason, and I feel like America needs to see this. Americans need to see this. They need to be embarrassed. Not me, not you, not Democrats. We've already been embarrassed. We were embarrassed the whole time Trump was in office. We've come through the other side of embarrassment. It's hard to embarrass us at this point. But those Republicans need to be embarrassed. The average Joe Republican needs to be embarrassed that their party is acting worse than some school kids. And that is where we're going to have the change. That's where that table is going to get flipped. Meanwhile, I will say this. So, I see energy. I'm talking about energy. The House represents to me a ball of just messed up energy. It's almost like a knot, several mini knots all tied together to the degree that you can't get it loose. And you either throw it in the trash or you cut the string that goes to all those knots and you throw the knots in the trash. Isn't that dissolution? So that's what the House represents to me. Meanwhile, the executive branch, Biden and Kamala Harris and Mayor Pete, are fanning out across the country to tout all the jobs and all the infrastructure that is about to be heaped on American cities like piles of gold. What that means to me, how I see that, is Biden is going around, right? Usually the House, Senate, and then you have the executive branch. It's still burning, and it's like having 500 Murrows up in here. It's going to kill me. I'm about to put it out in my coffee, which would be a whole nother problem. So if you hear my voice crack, that's what's happening. Oh my God. Let me get back to their story. Okay. So Biden is going around this mess. Okay. Normally this is how it works, right? The House, the Senate, the House, the Senate, then it goes to the president for signature. Okay. Biden is like, peace out, y'all. I got work to do. And they said this in this previous video. He is going to those cities. He doesn't care if they're Republican. He doesn't care if they're Democrat. And he's going to sit down with whomever wants to horse trade. And he's going to say, okay, what do you need, Mayor XYZ? What do you need, Governor XYZ? Okay, great. I will assign someone in my administration to help you. He's going to get it done without the House. We're not going to have a year of nothing. This is what they're going to tell you. Oh, there's going to be a year of nothing. We're not going to get anything done. That's not true. That's not true, you guys. Biden is going to get it done. He's going to go around the roadblock. He's taking a detour and, frankly, a victory lap at the same time. So this is what's happening. It's really not as bad as it looks. It's not as bad as it is. It's really kabuki theater. It's really there to embarrass the Republican rank and file members, the Republican in your neighborhood, your neighbor, your family member. Let them explain it to you why, 10, 20 Freedom Caucus traitors are holding up the whole Congress. Let them explain that to you, right? You can wait while they try to explain it to you, right? And of course, we have Biden, we have making an end run around that, but we also have Trump. We have Speaker McCarthy saying, I got to give it to Trump. He's more powerful than you know. Well, you know what? Trump is going to be in house arrest by himself, where he can't even trade his peanuts for some Skittles with another prisoner. He's history's toast. Jack Smith is going to clean up this mess, and we are going to move on. August, my friends, something big is happening in August and in the fall. It may be the final straw. We may deal with this all summer, and that may be the final straw. When they hold up the government, when they finally put it to vote that they want to dismantle Social Security, that might be the final straw, and that's okay with me. They cannot do it. The American people will not allow it. You have to understand it's not going to happen. So don't fall for it. This is a really good time to just pay attention to Biden. You know, every day, look at what is Biden doing? What is Kamala Harris doing? What is the administration doing? Don't pay attention to the news. It's just kabuki theater, okay? You guys take really good care of yourselves. It's going to be okay. We're going to get through this. And the most important thing is just to take care of yourself. That's the most important thing. Because when this is all over, and you and I and the rest of the Democrats and some of the Republicans that are sane are going to be picking our way through the rubble as we meet to create the new version of our political landscape, a better version, a version that's there for everybody, that's not just there for the corporations or for these traders, but for everybody. Everybody's going to get a seat at that table. And if we have to dissolve it and destruct it and stomp on it to get there, then that's what we're going to have to do. Look away. Won't be pretty. Look away. Come back around. Take care of yourself so that you're ready to get busy when it's time. Okay? Take good care, everybody. We'll talk soon. For entertainment purposes only.